Well, hello, and welcome to Friday evening. You'd think after 3+ years of doing YouTube live shows, we'd have this down to a science, but the thing is, we don't, because we self-produce, self-direct, and yeah, I don't write anything. Douglas does write because he's a writer. Everything I do is pretty much off the cuff, with the exception of the Grizzly Growl Monday to Friday 4 p.m. Monday to Thursday 4 p.m. shows, if I can get them in. Those tend to be narration of a story that I have read somewhere online about people who are going through maybe tough times or good times. Either way, the story will tend to be human interest, and I want to keep going with that to see where this ends up. Because, the Fridays I do the political show. Monday to Friday, Mr. Beaver does the political show in the morning. And once a month, we try and do a joyful pubcast, and we're doing one tomorrow. So around 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow, Saturday, December 20th, 2025, we will be live from the Lieutenant's Pump at 361 Elgin Street. And if you are in the neighborhood and want to pop in and say, hey, sit down, have a beer or a coffee or a non-alcoholic drink, you're not compelled to consume anything if you don't want to. We are equal opportunity when it comes to, hey, just hang with us. If you want to have a coffee or glass of water, soda, a drink, or scotch, whatever, we don't judge. Just come hang out with us. Have a good time. You do not have to appear on camera if you don't want to. Your voice doesn't have to appear in the podcast if you don't want it to. We just like to hang out. And sometimes hanging out is a lot of fun. So, I have to cover some weirdness tonight. And that weirdness is, well, weird. I don't know if I'm going to be able to go too long because I do have a raging migraine right here in the front of my head. Sinus related. I think the pressure's dropping and we're supposed to get some precipitation. So that would explain to me why I have such a powerful headache. Also couple that with the fact that I have a ton of lights on me. So that might be part of it too. Either way, I thought it would be fun to sit back, relax, and talk to you about the week that was. And I think I'm going to start off with this commentary from Lawrence O'Donnell, talking about Donald Trump just the other day. This is from Lawrence O'Donnell, the last word on MS Now, I guess. I don't know if it's MSNBC anymore, but anyway. I'm going to share this video with you. It's about 2 minutes and 30 seconds as he discusses what is blatantly obvious to most of the civilized world, and I'd say that's about 9 billion people. 8 billion, I don't know how many people are in the world. I'd say most of the civilized world, 9 billion minus one. You know who that one is. Let's have a look at this review of Trump's rambling, incoherent, self-promoting narcissist speech.
America's worst public speaker struggled mightily reading a teleprompter full of lies tonight. His speech, if we can call it that, in it, Donald Trump said that when he took office, quote, inflation was the worst in the history of our country. That is a lie, a typical Trump lie. Inflation was at 3% when Donald Trump took office. Inflation is at 3% right now. Donald Trump said that when he took office, we had, quote, transgender for everybody. That would mean that Donald Trump is transgender. That would mean that everybody is transgender. It is, of course, Trumpian madness. We did not have transgender for everybody. Donald Trump said, I was elected in a landslide. That is a lie. Donald Trump won by 1.5% of the vote. Donald Trump said they released violent felons, meaning the Biden administration. No president in history has released more violent felons in one day than Donald Trump did on his inauguration day when he pardoned every violent felon who attacked the Capitol on January 6th for him, to try to overturn a presidential election for him. Donald Trump said that tariffs is, quote, my favorite word. Donald Trump lied when he said we made a lot more money because of tariffs. We didn't make any money because of tariffs. America made no money because of that. The Trump tariffs paid to the United States Treasury have all been paid in the United States by Americans. The federal government has simply taken money away from Americans through the Trump tariffs. Americans have had to take money out of their pockets to pay for the Trump tariffs in this country. This is the first time that Donald Trump made a public reference to tariffs without telling the lie that foreign countries pay his tariffs. And Donald Trump lied about the Democrats, saying Democrats are demanding increases in health insurance costs. Donald Trump delivered his speech in a monotone anger. He seemed to be angry at the truth.
Well, that's pretty valid because I don't think I could have summed it up as eloquently as Mr. O'Donnell did. Trump is very much angry at the truth. And he has a problem with the truth because he's incapable of telling it. Everything he said in his rambling, I think it was a just under 15-minute speech. I couldn't watch the whole thing. I've tried to. I had to shut it off after like 2 minutes each time because you just sit there and shake your head and go, how does he continue to get away with saying these things and go unanswered? We are in truly bizarre times. Now, I understand the Epstein files were released today. I haven't had a chance to see any of them or look at them or even what people had to say about them. However, I will get to it and I will have a look at it later and I will have some commentary on it next week sometime. I haven't had a chance this week to really comment on it. So, I mean, it would be unfair for me to say anything or even make a comment or form an opinion because I've not had a chance to pour through any of it yet. So until such time as I can do that, I'm going to reserve my commentary on what has been released other than some photos that I did see last week, which were, questionable to say the least. Now, let's pivot and move to Canada because this is a Canadian podcast and we do broadcasts from Canada's original capital and Canada's current capital. For those of you who might be unaware, Kingston, Ontario, which is where Mr. Beaver lives and resides, that was originally the capital of Canada before Ottawa was selected and made the official capital. So from Canada's two capitals, we like to talk about Canadian politics because, well, this is a political show. Oh, thank you, Grace's Beach Life. Thank you. Heavily redacted and not all of the files were released today. And that's of no surprise to me. I expected fully that if the Epstein files were released today, there'd be very little for us to digest, make hay of, get excited about. I mean, come on. If Trump's in control of the White House, he's going to release only what he wants you to see and nothing more. That's it. And it doesn't matter that he's been given a court order to release everything. He's just going to make it up as he goes along. There are no rules that apply to that man because he doesn't believe in them. He's a lying, grifting narcissist, racist, 34-time convicted felon, sexual assaulter, serial sexual assaulter. Possibly a pedo, but we don't know that for sure. Mind you, when he, looks at 10-year-old girls and says, I'll be dating her in 10 years, that kind of... Anyway. Let's have a look at what this transpired past week with Pierre Poilievre. And, of course, I want to get to the Vassy Kapelos. Is it Kapelos? Kapelos or Kapelos? I'm sorry. Vassy, I apologize. You don't know who I am. I don't expect you to ever meet me, although you just work a few blocks from where I live, and that is the truth. The studio that she's in, I've actually worked in that studio. Anyway, this video you're about to see is Vassy kind of putting the screws to Pierre Poilievre. And he's being the typical obnoxious prick that he is because he's a narcissist, and that's what narcissists do. They ignore you and say what they want to say. But I love that Vassy just sort of really went hard on him here and didn't give him, well, she gave him no quarter, but I wish she went a little bit harder. But at least there was this, and this was entertaining and satisfying.
But I'll put to you again, you could not convince two of your own MPs that those ideas were enough to stay in the party under your leadership. And again, I'll put to you with great respect, I look at public opinion polling. Every single one of them has your party and the Liberals neck and neck, within 1 or 2 points of each other. But when you look deeper at your own personal numbers, the divide between you and the leader of the Liberal Party, the Prime Minister, is far more significant. You were supposed to win this election, you lost it, you didn't hold your own seat. You have now lost 3 MPs. At what point are you a liability to the Conservative Party?
Well, we added 2.5 million votes. We had the biggest vote count in our party's history. We got 25 more seats.
Yeah, so did the Liberals. They had the biggest vote count in their party's history. So you're not, that's not bragging rights, asshole.
Biggest share of votes since 1988. Why? Because I ran on restoring the promise of this country, that anybody who works hard gets a good life, gets an affordable home, a safe street.
Then why did you lose your seat and your party not get elected?
And that vision brought people to our party in record numbers. We've led the debate on inflation, carbon taxes, crime, immigration, natural resources, drugs, and more, to the point where the Liberals have to plagiarize our words.
Everything he said is bullshit.
Even though if they don't actually put them into practice. So we've been driving the debate under my leadership, and we're going to continue to demonstrate that if Canadians want those policies that Liberals keep pretending to support, they're actually going to have to vote for the real deal in the next election.
But you lost. At the end of the day, you lost, right?
Oh, that is such a beautiful thing. I love the way she did not give him any space on that one. But you lost. You lost, right? You lost. And that's all there is to say about that. You lost. She did not give him any space, nor does he deserve it. You lost. That's it. That's all. All he can do is stick to the script. Well, we had the most votes we've ever had. Yeah, so did the other team. You know why? Because the population grew by like almost 3 million people from the previous election. Next. He's such an obnoxious, smarmy narcissist. And that's what he is. He's a narcissist. Remember this. I'm going to give you a picture of what he's voted against. And you tell me why anybody would vote for a party that represents this. And remember, he lost his own seat and then crossed the country to demand, and I'm speculating that he demanded Damien Couric gave up a seat. I'm speculating because we don't know what took place there. But Damien Couric certainly got a really cushy lobbyist job, which I believe is in violation of about 4 different laws, but don't quote me on that. I'm not a lawyer. Either way, it's greasy. Greasy. Very greasy. But let's look at what Pierre Poilievre has voted against. And you tell me why you would vote for a Conservative Party whose leader has voted against all of the following. Affordable housing, $10 a day daycare, dental care, Canada Child Benefit, pharmacare, National School Food Program, environmental protections, 400 times, by the way, same-sex marriage. And he voted against that proudly in the House of Commons when his adoptive father, who is gay, was in the House. He's voted against taxing the wealthy, expanding Canada's pension plan, increasing the minimum wage, free contraceptives and diabetes medications, preventing companies from using replacement workers during strikes. anti-scab legislation. The party voted for it, but he voted against it. This man then goes on national television to tell you, well, this is what I'm going to do, and this is how I'm going to make the country better because I'm just full of shit is what you're full of. It's absolute garbage. You're full of shit. Just absolute full of shit. I'm sorry. I'm not even trying to be polite this time. He's full of shit. I will spare you a little bit of the pain. And yes, thank you. Thank you, Gracie's Beach Life. He voted against funding for Ukraine. Yeah, and that's the other thing. Yeah, well, yes, thank you, Linda. He voted against funding the National Holocaust Museum while at a fundraiser in a Jewish community center in Montreal. He, same guy says he would put a pipeline in regardless of First Nations and environmental laws. He's a narcissist who loves two things, himself and money. Power. But money and power kind of go hand in hand with this guy. Check out a few minutes of this. I'm not going to play the entire clip. It's 13 minutes and 30 seconds. I'm not going to play the whole thing, but this is Rosemary Barton with Pierre Poilievre.
MPs to the Liberal Party. Both have pointed to your leadership as issues. Michael Maw saying that he was more interested in unity than division. Is this a problem of your leadership at this point?
It's a problem of Mark Carney's leadership that after Canadians clearly rejected.
What? I'm sorry. What? How much of a freaking narcissist does one need to be to say, let's go back. Let's review that, okay? We're going to just back it up. It's just, that was a 10 second. She asked a question and he blamed the current prime minister for people leaving his party. Pay attention to this very carefully. We'll play it again and we'll discuss it again.
MPs to the Liberal Party. Both have pointed to your leadership as issues. Michael Maw saying that he was more interested in unity than division. Is this a problem of your leadership at this point?
It's a problem of Mark Carney.
You narcissist asshole. Why are people leaving your party? Is this a problem with your leadership? No, it's the problem with the Mark Carney government. I'm sorry, make that make sense. People left your party because they were looking for unity and not divisiveness, and you immediately become a divisive, self-centered, narcissistic a-hole. We'll continue.
His leadership that after Canadians clearly rejected a costly.
Okay, here he goes, a costly Liberal majority rejected by Canadians. He seems to think there's only two parties in this country. He's certainly acting like there are only the Conservatives and the Liberals, when we know there's more than that. There's the Green Party. There's four national parties, with the exception of Quebec, where there's additional parties, but they're only in Quebec. But the Green Party, the New Democratic Party, the Liberals and the Conservatives are the four big national parties. He seems to think there's only two. And I'm convinced that he believes they're all the same if you're not conservative.
Liberal majority, because they knew it would mean higher grocery price. Liberal leadership that after Canadians clearly rejected a costly Liberal majority, because they knew it would mean higher grocery prices and higher food costs.
Yes, because we all know that the federal government owns every grocery store in the country, and therefore they've nationalized them, and that's how the grocery prices are controlled, is by the... Oh, no, I'm wrong. My bad. Grocery prices are mostly controlled by one single company, which is the largest national grocer. There's a few of them, but not many. And his puppet master, Jenny Byrne, is a lobbyist for the largest national grocer, Loblaws, who keeps reporting record profits each quarter. So why is he blaming the federal government over private sector pricing? He's a conservative. He's supposed to like private sector, be all about the private sector. But no, he wants to act like the federal government can do anything about grocery prices. They can't unless we nationalize the grocers, and that's not going to happen. Let's continue.
He is trying to manipulate his way through backroom deals to get that.
No, people are crossing the floor because they think you're a narcissist piece of fucking human garbage.
Majority.
He's allowed to do this, though, right? Floor crossing is allowed. You've benefited from it in the past, too.
And this is cute. This part here. Let's back it up a couple seconds, where Rosemary tries to check him on what he just said, and he completely ignores her, talks over her, and stays on his talking point. This man has no personality, no charisma. He's a narcissist because he won't even listen to what she's saying. He needs to force his way through like a sledgehammer.
He's trying to manipulate his way through backroom deals to get that majority.
He's allowed to do this, though, right? Floor crossing is allowed. You've benefited from it in the past, too.
But he's trying to take a majority, a costly majority, that would drive up the cost of living and enrich liberal elites, of course, but not through democratic means. My message to Mark Carney is that if you want a costly majority government,
what democratic means, floor crossing is allowed. As a matter of fact, your party voted against the change to floor crossing a bunch of years ago, and Michelle Rempel-Garneau made a big speech about it, where they thought it was a fundamental foundation of our peace, order, and good government Westminster-based system. So there was legislature tabled that if you cross the floor, there should be a by-election. You guys voted against it. And now you're mad that the thing you voted against is what? This is as stupid as Trump telling you that the greatest negotiated deal in history was the CUSMA back when he was president in his first term, and now he's saying it's the worst. The deal that he demanded, we have, and he negotiated in quotation marks. This is just pure narcissism, pure idiocy, pure stupidity, pure assholery. We'll continue.
To drive up tax deficits, then you have to go to the Canadian people and have them vote for it, not do it by dirty backroom deals.
I mean, I know you don't like it, and we can talk about the merits of floor crossing and whether it should be allowed, but it is allowed. This is something that is allowed to happen. So back to my question, is this a sign of a weakness in your leadership that 2 members of your caucus have left?
No, it's a sign of backroom dealings that will drive up the cost of living. And don't take my word for it.
Just fuck off. Like, I've had enough of this shit. No, it's a sign. No. Chris D'Entremont from Nova Scotia crossed the floor because he said this was a frat party. It's a frat house. I wanted to be a representative of my constituents so that I could make a difference for them. I didn't join a frat party. And this lying narcissist asshole never admits to anything. He never admits he's ever done anything wrong. He never admits he's ever made a mistake. As far as he's concerned, he's perfect. I am a pacifist. I've made no secret of this. I'm a pacifist. And wanting to do something and doing something are 2 different things. But I've never wanted to punch a human being in the face more. I'm never going to do it because I know violence solves nothing, especially in an instance like this. But wow. Actually, I don't want to punch him in the face. I want to slap his face because I think that's more interesting. It's not going to happen. What I want to do, what I'm going to do are 2 entirely different things. I will yell at him if I see him in the street. I will yell at him and I'll give him a piece of my mind, and I'm entitled to do that. It's a free country where I express my opinion. I have the freedom of expression. It's a protected charter right. And I will freely express how I feel about this man if I ever see him in the street. I've never seen him in the street. I've never seen him in my neighborhood. Andrew Scheer's walked into the pub that I hang out in, and a few people screamed and yelled at him till he left. I didn't even know he was there until somebody said, oh, yeah, he's just... Anyway. Couple more minutes of this, and then I'm going to bail because I can only handle so much of this prick.
Mr. Ma's word. This is what he said just a few weeks ago.
Okay.
We are in
No. We're not doing this. You know why? Because he's going to read a speech he wrote and hand it to Michael Ma and insist that a backbencher say. So we're not going to do that, okay?
Prices because of Carney's hidden liberal taxes on food.
Don't exist. He's full of shit. That's a blatant lie.
What unites all conservatives is the belief that you should be able to have a full bank account, a full fridge, and a full stomach all at the same time. Something that's...
Then why did you vote against all of those wonderful things that I just showed everybody? If you actually believed a single frickin' word you're saying, you would not have voted against a dental plan, a pharmacare plan, $10 a day daycare, raising the minimum wage, a school food program. You voted against those things if you believe any of the garbage lies you just told. How do you know Pierre Poilievre's lying? He's speaking. He's a lying piece of garbage. Now, I'm not going to call him Mr. Poilievre. I know some people are polite enough to do that, and I know I'm supposed to, but I'm not going to. You know why? Two reasons. One, he's a raging narcissist asshole. And two, I'm older than him. So he does not get my respect. He has not earned it, and he doesn't deserve it. How in the hell is that man in politics still? I had a conversation earlier with a friend. And what was interesting about it was I said, look, love, hate, despise Justin Trudeau. I don't care what your opinion of him is. I don't care what your opinion of him is. He, unlike that prick, actually lived and worked in the real world. Yes, I get that he was born with a silver spoon in his mouth. Actually, it's probably more copper because he's only getting $2 million, which, granted, is a ton of money to 99% of us. But his inheritance is only $2 million. It's not hundreds of millions. It's not $400 million that a president of the United States inherited, said it was a small loan, and anyway. Justin Trudeau did live a privileged life. He has fully acknowledged that. And like I said, like him, hate him, love him, I don't care. You have to acknowledge the fact that he did he was a bouncer. He was a snowboard instructor. He taught school. And he fought in a boxing match against our friend, Senator Patrick Brazeau, who has said, if you underestimate Justin Trudeau, you do so at your own peril. Pierre Poilievre has been a politician since he was 20 or 21 he got elected. I can't remember the exact number, but he was like a young conservative pride. The man has never held a real job. The difference between Justin Trudeau and Pierre Poilievre is Justin Trudeau has actually lived and worked in the real world. Sure, he had a golden cushion to land upon, but he did work and live in the real world with real people. This guy is an elitist prick who has never worked a day in his goddamn life. Now, before I go, I do have to preface what I just said with the fact that I understand he puts in the hours. He does. I hate him. I think everything he does is terrible for humanity and for Canadians. He does, however, work an average of 18 hours a day, which is stupid, but that's what many MPs do. They work insane hours. Insane hours. That's not even up for question. It's not a debate. I know he works those hours. I know his staff works those hours. The problem is he puts all of his effort into doing things that are harmful to the vast majority of Canadians. He wants to tell you he's a man of the people, but he just went to a dinner the other day at $1,750 a plate at a private residence in Toronto. He also seems to think electricians capture lightning from the sky and turn it into electricity, because he said that about half a dozen times in the House of Commons. Now everybody goes, oh, he was just joking. And I go, yeah, but you've beaten the dead horse to death. You continue to say the same ridiculous thing over and 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 over again in the House of Commons. It's not funny anymore. It has become funny and like, Oh, of course they are. Thank you, Grace. They're showing the Epstein files. Epstein. Sorry, I keep forgetting the thing. I read the spelling and I pronounce it. They're showing the Epstein files full of pages of black. So they've just redacted everything, which is not a surprise. Thank you for that. All right, I am going to go. It's 30 minutes in. We're pushing 6:38 p.m. on a Friday evening. I don't like to go much more than 30 minutes on these Friday evening shows. And I do like to do my 4 p.m. shows when I can. This week was a little convoluted and complicated, but I got a couple of shows in, and I plan to do more next week, as well as getting back to the ASMR full time. Full time being like once a week, but I think I might do more. In all honesty, I think it's time I talk more about what I'm feeling and when I'm feeling it, because I think I can help somebody. And I've been told I've helped a few people by people who have reached out to me personally via phone calls, texts. I had a friend said, let's go for a drink. I want to talk to you. And took me out and said, you've done a great service in helping my daughter who has terrible anxiety. And that brought tears to my eyes to know that I was able to help somebody just by talking about what I'm going through. And the reason I do it is because I recognize that after going through some group therapy when I was having terrible insomnia, which is come and go with me, is that talking about it and knowing that other people are feeling the same things you are, it won't fix it, but it gives you a sense of comfort and camaraderie to know that you're not alone. And that makes a huge difference. So yes, I'll be back on Monday evening, a little bit earlier. I can't do 9 p.m. is when I go to bed. So I'll come back in a little bit earlier, maybe 6 p.m. Not sure. Going to do the 4 p.m. shows as much as I can next week. Of course, I will do a Christmas morning show. Christmas morning show, because I wake up, I'm got nothing else to do Christmas morning, early in the morning. I mean, I'll go see the family later. And I, of course, Mr. Beaver will be joining me tomorrow at 1300 hours, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time from the Lieutenant's Pump at 361 Elgin Street in beautiful downtown Ottawa. If you are in and around the city and you want to stop in to say hi, have a cup of coffee, glass of water, a soda, a beer, a scotch, whatever you want, just come and hang out with us. You don't have to appear on camera. We will never put you on camera unless you explicitly want to appear that way. I'll have a spare mic and a set of headphones. If you want to hang out, jump into the podcast for a bit, you're welcome to do so, but you are never compelled to do so. And if you don't want to appear, no problem. But we'd love to come in and have you come and hang out and sit just on the other side of the frame so you don't have to appear on camera, and spend some time with us. I will see you à demain, mes amis. Bye.